second and think back into a situation that you had either recently or in the past where you felt, before you felt you were lost, you had no idea what your next step was going to be, but with the help of a good friend or possibly your best friend, you were able to get through it and surpassed it. I'm going to tell you a story today about me and my best friend, which is my father, and how he helped me make my decision what I was going to do after high school. So, and hopefully at the end of this presentation you'll have a better understanding of who that certain person in your family, or I should say in your life, who's always been there for you and connect on a deeper level. Well, it was a typical Sunday afternoon, really nothing to do, nothing on TV, and I found myself at the kitchen table just texting a friend. And as I'm sitting at the table, I see my father come down the stairs, and he just sits right there in front of me. Sits down in front of me, and due to our audience analysis, one of the characteristics that you felt that made a great friendship was communication. And me and my father would talk about anything, whether it's sports, music, politics, movies, girls, whatever the subject is, we can talk about it. And it's not awkward at all. So he sits down, and he's a straight shooter, which I feel like most fathers are. You like to get to the point. And that's what he did. He sat down and just pretty much came out, what's your plans after high school? And as a 17-year-old senior, you got to remember, that's probably not something that's on your mind. You're usually graduation, maybe prom, but typically it's, what am I doing next weekend, like we are now? And he comes at me and he asks me, what am I doing? I had no idea. I had no idea at all. It was a couple ways: go to community college, go to ASU, and I was even thinking about the military. And as he starts talking to me, and I really wanted to go to ASU, always wanted to go, and he starts to put into perspective, just like parents usually do, whether it's saving up for a truck, and they like to tell you, this is what's going to happen, and he started asking me questions. You plan on moving up there? Who do you plan on moving up there with? Are you going to transfer your job? Are you going to look for another one? Do you know what you got to make monthly to live off financial-wise? What's your major? Is this exactly what you want to do? And at that point, 30, 40 minutes in the talk, I just felt bombarded with all these questions and emotions, which brings me up to my second point, where you felt that honesty was another trait. At this point, like I said, 30, 40 minutes into the talk, I had to be honest with my father and myself. I was afraid. I had no idea what I was going to do my next step in life. I really wanted to go to ASU, but I had some doubts of myself. I wasn't sure if I could academically perform up to par up here. I wasn't a straight A student, didn't have the high GPA, didn't graduate from honors, and I think a major part that played for me was that I come from a family where college isn't the norm. You graduate from high school, you might give community college a shot, you give it a semester or two, and if it doesn't work, then it is what it is. And I think that played a major part as far as being afraid. And I felt good telling my father that. I have a habit of holding in my emotions, and I don't like to talk about it. Which brings me up to my third point, where we felt it was trust was the last characteristic. After telling my father how I felt, he gave me the advice of just stay in town, go to the local community college, get your feet wet, as he said. Take a semester, take a semester or two, see how it felt, and if you feel good about it, then try to transfer out. Well, I took his advice. He had never steered me wrong in my life. I take everything to heart what he says, and that's exactly what he did. But I told him if I'm going to go to the community college, I'm not walking out with nothing. I'm going to walk out with a degree. And that's exactly what I did. Last May I graduated. I graduated with my associate's degree, and at that time it was a 30-year span between me and my father, which were the only two that graduated from college in our family. And took a shot. I applied for ASU, and to my surprise, I got in. I didn't really think I was going to get in. I was already set to go to NAU but you know, this is my dream school, and I went for it. So to recap, for our audience analysis, I feel like we've all decided that communication, honesty, and trust are three main characteristics that you feel make a great friendship. And whether it's, and I'll finish you guys off by saying, whether it's your mom, dad, brother, sister, pet, kids, whoever that person is in your life, so that it's always been through thick and thin, and they wouldn't like anything better than see you succeed. So while you're walking out today, and while you're walking to your next class or driving home today, I'd like you to take a second and think about that person that actually pushed you to your limits and probably beyond. And if you get a chance, you know, give them a phone call, send them a text, and if you see them this weekend, you know, give them a hug and just tell them thank you. Because nobody does it alone, and I wouldn't know where I'd be at without my father. Thank you for listening to me today, and have a nice day.